back to order. Next item on the agenda was unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business that the board needs to discuss? Mr. Zuber, are you aware of any? Nope. Anyone else? All right, that'll take us down to consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
Make the motion.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Any discussion about the consent agenda? No discussion? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. All right, motion passes. Next item, action items, approval of the health center contract. Can we get a motion to approve the contract, please?
So moved.
Second.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any discussion?
I just had one request as part of the discussion. If you wouldn't mind, Ken, can you kind of talk through some of the changes in the language that, so people, and address kind of where there were issues before and how that this new contract has resolved or addressed?
I will do my best. I don't necessarily have a highlighted copy that indicates all of those changes. Let's see, Marshall, I'm gonna ask you to kind of help me point out what you got.
Yes.
Yeah, let's move this over.
This morning, we reached understanding with the attorney representing the health center on a new contract. And I'd be happy to go through the key provisions. The contract's gonna be for 3 years. There is still the 90-day period that either side can terminate the contract. That's been in the previous contracts, it's still in this contract. There is more detailed information about the local advisory committee that is to be formed between the school district and the health center. The board will appoint up to 3 parent guardians and also appoint 3 school community representatives, one of whom has to be a board officer or the superintendent. The advisory committee will meet at least 4 times during the calendar year. There will be, if this is approved, 1 meeting before the end of this year. There also is a commitment on the part of the health center to have a representative at least 2 board meetings to give a report. In addition to that, the health center will be giving monthly reports to the board president, in particular about any changes in laws, policies that affect the health center. So what we try to do is build a better infrastructure so there can be better communication between the district and the health center. Other highlights I would point out that the district will be responsible for providing security at the health center. We have committed to create a double lock on the interior door and also be more responsible for security measures. One of the conditions in this agreement, which was not in the previous agreement, anybody that comes into the school district is subject to applicable board policies and bylaws, and the health clinic will be as well. That was one of the new additions to this contract. There's a commitment on both sides to an understanding that this is an independent contractor relationship. Neither party represents the other party. There's, again, going back to communication, any policy statements that are new regarding services that will be provided at the health center will be communicated to the superintendent and the board president. There will be a commitment on the part of the health center to have either a physician's assistant present at the health center for staffing, and there will be a behavioral therapist available. So they will be providing not only medical but mental health services. We have clarified issues surrounding parental consent. We've identified those areas under the public health code where parental consent is not mandated, but we also have clarified the circumstances in which parental consent will be obtained. And the health center has made a commitment, even in the case where there are exceptions, they will seek permission of the student to contact the parent or guardian before performing services. But in the end, if the student does not want to give consent and it's exempt under the public health code, then the service can be provided. Another issue that we addressed was consistent with state laws regarding parent consent. Any procedures that are performed on students at the health center within 2 business days, a communication either in digital or hard copy form will be sent to the parent and guardian of the student, advising the family what procedure was performed. We beefed up insurance, indemnification provisions. Previously, the contract did not provide for criminal background checks of the health center employees, which is a requirement under our school code. We included language in the contract to address that. I know one of the issues in controversy was some of the artwork that is associated with the health center. We included a clause that the superintendent and the board president, if it's not related to a medical issue, will have approval of any declarations or artwork at the health center. So that's a brief overview of some of the changes. That doesn't include all.
But it's not about the
Any
mirror.
other questions or comments by the board?
I had just one more comment.
Yeah. They covered her ass on
I
that was already there.
have some concerns about overreaching some of the language on this, and I just appreciate the health center's willingness to work with our district and continue, to be partners that are willing to sit down at the table and figure out the best way that we can work together. And I think they did a great job of that.
I too have some concerns about some of the language in the contract, but I also know this health center provides a critical service for our students and is needed in our community. So I think together the health center's relationship and the work that the board has tried to do to improve the contract is what needed to happen.
And we added background checks, which was not in the contract before. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Any other comments? Okay, no other comments? We'll go to a vote. Stephanie, please start with you.
Can we start at the other end?
Sorry, no, we've already have a motion and a second, yep. So, I'm sorry?
Can we start at the other end?
Sure,
please?
Mr. Vance.
Yeah.
Aye.
I'm gonna vote aye, but with the understanding that I do have some issues with the language, but I feel like resolution and moving forward for the sake of staffing, our own and the health center and also our students is imperative, so I vote yes.
Yes. I vote yes as well. Again, I have some concerns, but again, I see incredible value to having this service for our students.
Okay, motion adopted.
Glad your budget concerns got fixed.
Will the contract be available in the meeting minutes?
Excuse me, it's not time for public comment yet, please.
Will the contract be available in
Next
the meeting
item on the
minutes?
agenda, approval of hiring Rebecca Stark-Kruger as a health teacher.
Yeah, she came on board after our last meeting. We've interviewed and are recommending the hiring of Rebecca Stark-Kruger to fill the position of middle school health teacher. former parapro here, and now moving into teacher position. Recommending her hire. She's a great lady and knows our students.
All right, can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Support.
Any questions or comments?
I think this is great.
Brett, I'm sorry, Brett, how long, has she been a parapro?
Ooh, I don't know that, honestly, but she's been here for quite a while and does a great job with the kids. And Mr. Akey's still here. I don't want to put you on the spot. You have any idea how long she's been with you? 10 years. It's a good deck. Is she here? There she is. Yes, she's awesome. So should have asked you. I didn't see you back there in the shadows.
I'm sorry, can we get you to stand up for a second, just so we can acknowledge you? All right. See no other discussion on this action item? All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay? All right, motion passes. Approval of treasurer's report. You get a motion on that?
Support.
Any questions about the treasurer's report?
Related to it, but I don't know if it's directly this report. When do we, again, hear from the state on the funding? Is that in October or November?
It's been determined how much, what our per pupil amount is going to be
Yeah.
already.
Okay.
And so then, yeah,
Do we wait until after?
we're going to start
college?
receiving.
Okay. I just knew that earlier we were talking about how we have
Yes.
to make adjustments.
It was
based
as
off of-
early this year as it's ever been.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? All right, motion passes. And just for the record, just so, we make sure that we have it correct in the minutes, I just wanna make a point that Mr. Vance had to step away, so. So that motion, passed 6-0. Approval of the general fund summary. Can we get a motion on that, please?
Support.
Motion and support. Any questions or comments about the general fund summary? All right, seeing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Discussion items.
Couple real quick things. First, just want to make sure that I understood this correctly, the contract that we just agreed to will now be made public,
Yes,
correct?
it's public document.
Public document, great. And then in regards to one of the items on that, about the advisory committee or council, what is the time frame for us moving forward with that? Like when I feel like we have to move fairly quickly, trying to think about how will we discuss this at a future board meeting? Will we have a closed session or a special meeting? How will the kind of criteria be determined?
If you're asking me to speak, that's really up to the board, what they want to do. I would suggest that they appoint representatives to the advisory committee sometime in October. I don't know how many meetings we have in October, but the idea is there being at least one meeting with the health center before the end of this calendar year. And we did include in the contract that participants of that advisory committee can participate in the meeting remotely, although it will be open to the public, to make it be easier to get people together. So I would say probably sometime in October, I would think you would consider appointing people to the advisory committee. But this is up to the board how we go about doing
go about that?
I mean, I think there's a couple of ways we could do it. We could, if we don't need to meet until, if it's just one time before the end of the year, we could really target more of December with, I think, a realistic timeline, and we could look at, for the actual meeting, And then that way we have maybe October to, because I would suggest that we open it up to the community and see who would like to participate. And then we could, just an idea, we could, gather that information at our next board meeting and then either call a special session, to discuss or have a vote, or look at that November board meeting to do a formalized vote and then in preparation for the December meeting. That's just thinking of timeframe and how to try to collect interested parties, but also then to make some sort of decision. I feel like we should allow ourselves some time. Sure. That's just my idea. Sorry.
Advisory meetings coming soon, isn't it?
Yes, there's one this week.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
there's one
is
on
there another
Wednesday.
Time to maybe collect some more input on that.
Possibly. I don't know if they already have their agenda set in like 2 days.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So,
Mr. Zuber,
Yeah.
do we have a mechanism to collect names of interested folks?
Yeah, we could post something on our school website or send an email blast to all of our families to get anybody that's interested, to reach out and we can build a list and go from there.
Okay. Does that sound good to the board?
And then we just have to determine how they're selected from then. That's again, that is.
Right, yep.
Yeah, we can
I think getting a good idea of interested parties first will help inform that process.
the process. Yep.
Maybe some people who actually run an interview would be interested in that. We know a lot about them at this point.
Sure. Yep. Okay. Any other discussion items?